So essentially nothing but a customer segmentation tool that is used in marketing, a quantitative technique to determine the strongest prospects that the organization has from its customer base. So R stands for recency, F stands for frequency, M stands for monetary value. And the whole idea is you classify the customers into 10 buckets. So for recency, classify all your customers into 10 buckets. The top 10% would go the most the recent, and the bottom 10 would be the ones who have not visited you, and also on and so forth. And repeat the same process for all three metrics, which is for frequency and for monetary value. And from amongst this, you can then determine what is the weightage you're going to give. So weightage could also be equal, 0.33, 0.33, 0.33, which means you can just sort of give equal weightage to recency, frequency, and monetary. Also, depending upon industry, this could vary, but generally it is assigned a weightage. The greatest weightage is given to recency, next highest for frequency, and monetary. How do they do that? Is recency is given a weightage of 100, frequency 10, and monetary 1. And as we sort of deal with this exercise, you will understand the concept better. Okay, let's move on to the Excel sheet. I hope you have downloaded it. Let me share that with you. Recency, frequency. Okay, share. All right. So now we have the Excel sheet with the customer data, and you have the customer ID, which is a unique number generator, the sales order number, the sales amount, and the order date on which they made the purchase. Now, based on this, how are we going to determine recency, frequency, and monetary value? How are we going to do the analysis? How are we going to determine recency from this? Or let's say, how are we going to determine monetary value from this? Let's first talk about that. And how are we going to classify them into buckets? Any thoughts? We have, let's say, we have this data set, and it is, I don't know how many pages it is, how many lines it is. So it's running into around 27,000, 28,000, 27,000 customers, right? It's a really big database.
The clustering would be based on the sales amount. The percentage of sales amount means the overall sales, means that amount by the overall sales, sum of sales.
Overall amount divided by, I haven't understood the concept. Can you
that? Yeah. The C2 by summation of overall sales amount, the percentage.
So pivot table.
Oh, pivot table is a good idea, Puneet. Yeah. Yes, Deepak.
So before we make any summarizing thing like a pivot table, I think for a recency, probably current date minus order date, that difference in terms of number of days can be calculated.
Okay.
For recency, for monetary, the sales amount itself summed up by the customer ID. So sum if or something like that.
Okay.
And then frequency can be done by count of the customer IDs. I mean, how frequently a customer is coming. So RFM these three different columns we can get, and then we can summarize the data to see who are the top ones.
Okay, I think from the response given by Deepak and Puneet, the answers are there. I hope the others have understood it, but for the benefit of the others, let me repeat it. So monetary value, of course, is there. Sales figure is there. So we can pick up from there. We can divide that into 10 buckets. How we will do it, we'll come to that in a bit. Recency, of course, like Deepak was saying, we know the date of purchase. So we take today's date and subtract the date of purchase. It will tell you how long ago the purchase was made. So that tells you the recency. So the lowest value would mean the least amount, least amount of time which is elapsed between the time they have purchased and today. So that will tell you recency. Frequency, of course, you can count the number of times a transaction is done by each of these people. Now please observe the data has got a sales order number and a customer ID. So which means a customer ID is unique, 15084, that is the first customer ID. So he could have actually made multiple sales orders. He could have visited 5 times. So each time he would get a different sales order. Okay, so we need to therefore modify this data in such a way that you're able to capture this information. How many times customer ID has come, how many times customer ID that is 15084 has visited, when was his least, when was his most recent visit? Okay, we are interested in capturing this information. So, like Puneet said, we can actually use what is it called? Pivot table. Yeah, we can use pivot table to initially clean up this data and make it more manageable. Okay, let me demonstrate how that is done. Just give me a show of hand. How many of you are comfortable with the idea of pivot table? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, I'm finding no response from Manish, Shivam, Aditya, Kiran. Yeah, Kiran is also. Aditya, no response. Shivam, Monu.
I'm fine, sir.
You're fine. Okay, at least give me a thumbs up, so I know that, like, otherwise, you will just get left behind. How about Ankit, Ajay, Ankit Kumar, Ankit Ajay, Monu? Okay, Om Prakash. Okay, all of you are comfortable generally. Yeah, okay, fine. So I think generally there is comfort in this. Okay, fine. So let's start with the pivot table. Click anywhere on the data set. Control A, selecting the whole data set. Go to. Okay, wait. Yeah, click anywhere, on any random cell. Control A, the whole cell is selected. Go to Insert tab. Click on Pivot Table. Okay, so automatically Excel figures out what is the range or what is the table for which you want the pivot table to be created. That is, shown with this running green outer line. And then where do you want the pivot table? On the new worksheet. Okay, and I say okay, and a new worksheet is getting created. So my first job is, my unique field here is the customer ID. Okay, so I take the customer ID and it is automatically gone to the values, but I want it as a row. Drag it to the rows. Okay, so I have the customer ID with me. Now I'm interested in the sales amount, the total amount of sales, monetary value. I click on it, drag it to values. Okay, it is giving me the total amount of transaction made by each customer. So that is customer order by 11000 is 8248. Okay, so that is the total monetary value of the sale made by each of this customer ID. Then I'm interested in the frequency, how many times he made it. So all that I need to do is I look at the sales order number, drag it there, and it is counted the number of times that order was made. So 11000 has actually made the order 3 times. So that counts the frequency. So now I have the monetary value here. I have the frequency value here. Okay, now what I'm interested is in the most recent time he sort of made this. Okay, so for that I use the order date and again drag it down to the values box. Now it gives me the order date. It is telling me count of order date, but I'm not interested in the count of order date. I'm interested in, what am I interested in? Could somebody tell me how can I get the most recent date?
So max of order.
Maximum of order, absolutely. Okay, so the maximum order date. So instead of count, I'm interested in summarize value by max. Okay, so you find that it is formatted in a funny way. I need to correct that. Control Shift down, right click, format cells.
So we can
And
format
say
it from the
yeah, sorry, what is it? Somebody was saying something. Yes, please. Yeah, Deepak?
Sir, probably we can format this from the pivot table fields area itself. because if the data changes or rows are added or deleted, then only the part that we manually format here would be formatted. But if we do it straight from the pivot table fields area where we put it under sigma values section, then even if the data changes, it would automatically format.
Yes, got it. Yeah, fine. Yeah, okay. There are several ways of doing it. Of course, yours is more this thing. Okay, but I was just putting it in a very simple way. Fine. Okay, I agree. I take your point. Fine. So now we have the three essential things we are looking for. So the sales and frequent are recency, maximum order date, which is the most recent. So say customer number 11000, he has purchased 3 times. That is the count of sales order. His most recent visit was on 12th November 2022, and the total purchases that he's made from us is to the tune of $8,300. So this is the value we have. Okay, so now this in itself is not very helpful. We need to select the whole thing again. Okay, Control Shift right down, Control C. I'm going to a new tab here and pasting it, Control V, Control Alt V, and I'm saying values. I only want the values to be pasted. Okay, so I have data in a different form here. So it says it's row labels, but essentially that is my customer ID. Okay, wait, so this is your customer ID. Let me rename it. Customer ID. This is the monetary value, sum of sales, which I'm okay with. Maximum or maximum of order. Okay, let us say most recent visit. Okay, let me again format it. Control Shift down. Wait. Control Shift down. Right click. Format cells, and I say date. Okay, and count of this. Okay, let me call it frequency of visits. Okay. All right, so I don't need the last row here because it's picking up the grand total. It could actually mess up with the rest of the formulas which I might use, so I'm getting rid of that. So we have cleaned up the data a little bit. Okay. Now I have the most recent visit date, but I need to determine how many days have elapsed since his most recent visit or his latest visit. So let me look at the current date. So current date is, I'm capturing it here, which I'm using the now function, or I'm using the today function, is equal to TUDAY tab, close the bracket, enter. Today is 12/8/2023, and I'm saying days elapsed since his most recent visit. Okay, I'll simply call it days elapsed, and that will simply be this, equal to today's date minus most recent visit. I lock O1 here because I can drag the formula down, and F4, enter. 273 days have elapsed. Double click, copy the formula down. Okay, comfortable so far? Any issues, anybody? Okay, I suppose it should be fine, simple. Okay, now we have 3 things: recency, frequency, and monetary value. All of them are here. So now next thing is divide the recency. Let's start with recency. That is, of course, the time elapsed. Let's divide it into 10 buckets. And how do you propose that I do it? How do I divide this, like, time elapsed to 10 buckets?
Using deciles.
Using deciles, yes. That is basically, yeah. Okay. And in Excel, how do I do it?
Sir, I think there is a quartile function wherein we can specify.
Okay. Okay, so you can use the quartile function, but okay, fine. So you're all familiar with the concept of percentile. So when I say 95th percentile or 90th percentile, what that means, I think I mentioned this in the first class. When I say 90th percentile, it means 90% of the observation is below a certain value. That is what it means. Correct? So we can use that concept here. So we can actually divide it by looking at the 10th percentile, 20th percentile, 30th percentile, 40th percentile, all the way to 90th percentile. So if you do that, you will be able to get the cutoff as to, we'll be able to get the bracket where each one of them would lie. So let me illustrate that. Let's say I need 10 buckets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, fine. And okay, so before we begin anything, let us also create named ranges, because that's going to make our calculations a lot more simple. Control Shift right, down, selected everything. I go to Formulas tab. I go to Create from Selection, and I say top row, and I say OK. I have my named ranges. Replace existing definition of sum of sales statement. What is it trying to ask me? Sum of sales amount. Is there an existing? Okay, let me put it as monetary value. Monetary value. Most recent visit. Okay, now let me write it again. Control Shift down, and I say formulas, create from selection. I say top row, and I say okay. Fine. So I have the name ranges now. Okay, there they are. Right. So I need 10 buckets for each of these. So let me see what those are going to be. Percentile, array, days elapsed, okay, name range, and 0.1, that is for 10%. Okay, so let me do that here. 0.1, 0.2. So I can, instead of hard coding it, I can use cell referencing. Essentially, I'm saying instead of 0.1 here, I'll pick up the value from here and drag the formula down. I have my 10. Is that okay? Anybody having a problem? Please give me a thumbs up if you're following what I'm doing. I'm doing a little fast. I'm assuming that you people are comfortable. Okay, only Monu is comfortable. Others are not. Srivatsam. Okay, fine. Yeah, all of you are comfortable. Great. Okay, fine. So now, just as a check, okay, it tells me this 100 percentile is 1129. So which means it should also be the maximum number in this particular array. Okay, let's double check. Is equal to max function, and I'm trying to see days elapsed, and 1129. Okay, so this number is starting with non-number, so our calculation all seems to be perfectly fine. Okay, so this is our first bucket. Let me drag it to the right. Okay, now let me calculate my recency score here. I call it R score. Okay, so how am I going to calculate the R score? So I need to determine in which bracket my days elapsed is going to fall under. If it is going to fall below 47, okay, like 0 to 47, like, if 0 to 47 is my best customer. If it is between 0 and 47, I would actually want to give it 9 points. If it is between 47 and 75, 8 points, and so on and so forth, all the way till 0 points. Is this okay? I suppose this is okay, what I just did. Okay, so 47th is my 10th percentile number, which means anybody who was taken less than 47 should be given maximum priority, maximum importance. And because I'm using a 10-point scale, I'm going on the from 0 to 9. So I should assign 9 points to someone who was last visited me in less than 47 days. Okay, so that is what I've done. And let me shade it. Okay, so essentially, yes, please, yes, yeah, please. I don't know who was interrupted. Tell me, please. Somebody was asking. Yes, written there. Yes, please.
It wasn't me.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Issue? No issues. Okay, fine. So all that I've done is calculated this data. You have a total of you have I have divided into 10 buckets. Okay, so my first bucket is 0 to 47. If the person has taken less than 47 days, I mean it's been less than 47 days since his last visit, for me he is very valuable, so then I assign him 9 points. If he is taken between 47 and 75 days, for his if 47 to 75 days have elapsed since his last visit, he falls in the second bucket, so I assign him 8 points, and so on and so forth, all the way. Okay, and if his last visit has been let's say 340 days ago, then he is not so important for me, therefore I would give him 0 points. So that is what it is. All right, so now once we have this here, I will use a VLOOKUP, and I'm going to say VLOOKUP. My lookup value is number of days elapsed, and my lookup array is this. I'll lock it F4, and I want the second column in the VLOOKUP array to be shown, and I want a approximate match 1. Close the bracket, and I get 2. Let's manually inspect the results. Days elapsed 273, and R score should be 2. 273 here. 273, R scope should be 2. That is absolutely right. If the value between 245 and 290, it should be 2. It's correctly captured it, and I drag the formula down. Okay, so I'm getting a 0 value 342. Yes, if it is more than 339 days, it should in fact be 0. Okay, just give me a thumbs up if you have got it right so far, if you have followed what I've done. Okay, Sayan is comfortable. Srivicham, Puneet, Monu, Om, Manish, Deepak, Om, Aditya, okay, Ravi. Fine, okay, great, yeah. All right, so Samir is not around? Samir, yeah, did you get it? Yeah, okay, great, fine, yeah. Monu, Manish? Okay, fine, all comfortable, okay, great. Fine. So now we have the R score. Now let's look at the recency frequency, F score. F score again. So I can just, okay, I can use the same thing. Yeah, okay. F score would be what? The frequency score. Okay. So let's do the same thing again. Your first bucket is going to be right. If I do this again, it might confuse you. Okay, let me just Control C. I'll do it here. Control V. Okay, fine. Here, the first bucket is going to be percentile array, and the array for me this time is going to be frequency. Okay, frequency tab 0.1 0 0.1, close the bracket. Okay. Instead of 0.1, I can use the cell reference here. A little bit of that, and use 0.1 here, and I can drag it down. Okay. Oh, okay. So majority of them are that. Is it percentile? So majority of them are single purchases. That's what it tells me. Okay, but anyway, let's move ahead. Okay, so again, this is the frequency purchase. So if I have this bucket, okay. Okay, fine. So now you would appreciate that the higher the frequency, the greater points I have to give him. Okay, so which means here I will have to do it in reverse order. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so there is a little bit of an issue with this data because it's highly skewed. The data is really skewed, and there are a large number of ones, and then very few. I mean, most of them are only one-time customers. So let's still see how the VLOOKUP works. F score is VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. Table frequency. This table array is here. And second, and you want approximate match. Let me lock this table here. F4 and close it. Okay, so it's giving me a 9, 999. Something is going wrong with my formula here. Let me try to do an exact match. Okay, my formula is breaking. Okay. Okay, let me try to figure out what's going on here. So you have understood what's going wrong here? The thing is,
the function might be getting stuck with finding multiple references for the same value.
Exactly, because yeah, so which means typically when this happens, it will pick up the first value. Let me try to set it right. So let's say let me push this forward and give it a 0 here, and then I can do okay. We look up. Recency table function, right? Not all the way to there. And let me lock it. Oh no. We look up, lock it. Two, comma, one. Okay. Okay, it is working. Yeah, I'm getting 7, 9, but it should not be 7 and 9.
So we should have only 3 values. It's 0, 1, 2, and 4
Okay,
values.
so instead of dividing into 10, basically you're saying make it a 3 bucket, right? Okay, so that is a valuable suggestion. Fine. Okay, so let's do that. So basically, I will capture this as 0.33, 0.67, 67. So I'm reducing the number of buckets for this. This will be 1. Okay, and now let me apply the formula. Frequency of this. You want 3 buckets here. This formula is fine. Okay. 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 Fine. Let me remove this. All right. Okay. 0 to 1. Okay. 0 to 1, 2. Okay. Again, I want. Okay. Okay. I think the formula has corrected itself now. We look up should be here. But why is it not picking the value 1? 0 to 1 is 1. No, even 0. Okay, I think there is an issue here. Let me drag this down. Okay, and let me change the VLOOKUP table. Okay, it seems to be fine now. Okay, if it's 1, if it's 3 days, 2. If it's 2 days, it should be 2. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, so that was a little confusing. I hope it was not confusing. All that we did is instead of having 10 buckets, which was not meaningful when we have majority of single customers and one-time visits, it wasn't particularly meaningful to divide them into 10. So we have actually reduced it to 3 buckets. Okay, you could do 3, 5, 10, or whatever. But I hope what I did now is okay for you. People understood what I did. Yeah, yes, Deepak.
Sir, in row 21 for frequency of 17, the F score is 2.
Row 21.
For frequency of 17, the F score is 2. Should it be 3?
It should be 3, right? Why is it not picking up the value? Let me try that again. 1, 2, 28. It should show 3. Let me just modify. No, it should give me an NA. Let me just try that. It should give me an NA. One range. This should be 3.
Sir, I'm getting 3. Only difference what I've done is that between that 1, 1, 2, 2 and 28, 3, I've defined that as a kind of a named range.
Oh, is it? Okay. But still, even, yeah. But I'm like, why is the formula breaking? It's actually quite strange, Okay, let me just try what you said. But then that is an anomaly in Excel. So your range defines as a named range. Is it 0 to, let me remove this altogether. I don't need a 0 here.
Sir, I got the problem. We can move 1, 2, 3 in the P column, 1, 2, 3 above this, one cell above this.
This one, right?
Yes.
Achha,
One
this is
cell
what
above and 1, 0.
yeah, exactly. This is what I was having earlier. Okay, now it should probably work. Okay, let me try that again. Has it corrected itself? No, then other scores are actually going for a toss. Okay, no, 3 is 3, that's fine. 17 is 3. What about 1, 2? 2 is also 3. 1 is 2. Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. Now this is fine. Yeah. So it's the same thing that we did earlier also. Okay.
That range needs to start from 18.
I'm sorry, Samir. Can you please repeat?
I think that range needs to start from cell 18.
Range needs to start from cell 18.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, it's all right now. 3.
So 18 to 21. P21.
21. No, even if we leave it, like, which means anything above 3,
yes.
Anything above 2 will be this. So this is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, anything above 2 will be picked up as 3. That's what it says. Okay, fine. So now this looks fine. See here also, if you look at the earlier version, I did not include that 1129. Anything above that is, 0 to 1, 0 to 1 is 1, and 1 to 2 is 2, and 2 to 3 is, so that's how it works. So this is fine, right? Okay. So let's just randomly look for any number 1. It should be 2. Okay. 2 should be 3, and 28, 17 should be 3. Okay, fine. It seems to be okay now. But the thing is, it's only got 2 and 3. There is no 1.
Sir, actually, we should not be considering 0 because if a person has not visited, that person will not be in the data itself.
Okay, if it's this way again, let me try this. If I put it this way, and I say go, I should get a 1 somewhere, no? Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah, 1 is giving me 1, 1, 2, 1 is 17. What is the value of 17? It's giving me 2. There is an issue there. What Puneet was telling me, you made it in the name range, it is working perfectly fine. It's rather strange. 1 second.
Sir, I defined the range from 1 onwards, not
this. This is what you named as a range, is it?
Yeah.
This, okay. Let me try that. This is quite interesting problem we are having. Okay, we look up.
So what I understand here is order values from 1 below 2 is 1. 2 below 28 is 2. So 17 is below 28. That's why it's picking 2. and 28 3. So we will have only 1 3 in this whole list.
Okay, below 28 is 2. 1 to 2 will be 1. 2 to 28 will be 2. Let's say if I did this, then there's no 0, unfortunately. Then 0 to 1 should be 1. Oh, okay, this is an interesting bug. But can you please share your screen, Puneet? What have you done to get this right? Let me see. It's interesting. Yeah, Puneet, please share your screen. Yeah. It's a very interesting and unique problem, actually.
So we can use if statement.
Yeah, we can, of course, definitely, but that is for this particular thing. But I'm saying, you know, generalized thing. He's saying if he's using name range, he's getting a different result. That in itself is interesting.
So I guess it's not correct. 2 is also 3, 17 is also 3.
No, that's what. Where is okay? His screen. I'm not seeing it. Okay. Look up. Score to true. No, where is it? 17 value. Yeah, 17 is also showing us 3. So basically everything is shown as 3. 2 is also 3. No, you're not audible. If you're saying anything, Puneet, please unmute yourself.
This is the score that we are trying to assign. We can play around with this score, right? Like we have did it from 0 to 9.
Right.
We can decide whatever we want to.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes. So basically, you're saying 0 is not possible. So you cannot, because everybody's purchased at least 1.
I was just trying to adjust these scores when you asked to share the screen. Because 0, as Deepak said, that this instance will not be there at all.
Will not happen, exactly.
Yeah. So for the rest of it, I mean, we can just see what is the best way to assign the scores itself.
Okay.
This also we can adjust, right, sir? This.
Yeah, absolutely. Because see, we are dividing into 3 buckets because making into 10 is not meaningful.
Yeah.
So maybe here we can actually even have 2 buckets. Like, 50 percentile, because this number is too many, because it doesn't meaningfully make a difference. Whether you divide the 10 buckets, if each one of them is visiting only once, 90% of them is visiting only once, how does it make, how is it meaningful to have 10 buckets?
Yeah.
So perhaps we could reduce the buckets. Let's try that. Let's make it 2 buckets then. Okay. Let's try that. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So let's play around with that. So instead of 3 buckets, 4, because we find that this data is massively skewed, the frequency, because majority of them are one-time visitors, we will only have 2 buckets for this. So let the first bucket be 0.5 and the second bucket be 1. So people, we're having 2 buckets for this. And let's say percentile frequency, it's picking up this.
So if statement would be very easy.
No, but I'm trying to see, I take your point, but what I'm saying is, this is again a problem. Say, for instance, like I said, FMCG goods, cars, they might only buy once. But our larger thing is, how are we going to, why should we have 10 buckets when majority of them are visiting only once? Suppose all of them are visiting once, then what do? Then only the frequency doesn't have any meaning at all. So only the monetary value and the recency, that like sort of it becomes insignificant. If all of them have the same value, so let's just try to see if we can divide to 2 buckets. And so if it's like, even if you're dividing into 2 buckets, 50% of the score is this. So which means it's 2. Wait, let me pull this down. Okay. So which means only for 28 you will have 2. So I think the 3 one was better then. Okay, so this means only 0.33, 0.67. We'll stick with 0.67. And 1. We have 28. We look up. 3 means 2 points. If I push this up. Four.
But actually, when you're adding 1 in the percentile, it is always going to have the topmost value only, right?
But how else are we going to divide in 3 buckets? No, because we have to, when we say we divide into 3 buckets, basically the first 1/3 and the next 1/3 and the last 1/3. So that is how we're dividing the whole data set we have. So basically majority of them are visiting only once, which is why we are having this problem. But essentially anything above 0.67 should be giving me the value of 3. That is, anything above 2 should be giving me a value of 3. So 17 should also be giving me the value of 3.
So we can do by if NA and VLOOKUP together.
If
VLOOKUP for 1 and 2,
and
if it's NA, that means 3, then it would go. It would rename it as 3. If NA, then it would be 3.
Okay.
If NA plus VLOOKUP.
Okay, let us do the nesting, but let me just keep this on hold. Let me just, in the interest of time, this is a great suggestion here, Mesa. Let me just move on to the other thing. Okay.
Sir, can I share my screen for a second?
Yeah, please. Yes, Deepak. Yes, please.
Yes. So, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is. Let me minimize my. Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know how. Oh, okay. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So what I did was I tried to find out what percentiles and what the visits are. So up to 99 percentile.
Just 1 second, Deepak. See, you have to be, when you create the bucket, so you have to be uniform. You can't create 0.33, 0.67. So it should be equally spaced. Or are you saying?
So, but the problem here is the data is skewed. So from that perspective, we will equal segmentation will not work here since the data is not symmetric. And even up to 99th percentile, we have just 4 visits. So if I take the highest, like 28 as my most, I mean, I will give the F score highest to whoever is visiting me 28 times. But even if 99th percentile, I mean 4 visits up to 27 visits. If I look at the data, if I exclude, so there are just 243 out of 18,000 who are between 4 and 27 visits. So from that perspective, equal buckets may not work here, but something like a skewed scoring pattern itself. like 28 as 10, 4 to 27, 9, 3 as 8, and then.
Okay. So even if you're doing this, even if you're doing this, at least scoring, you do it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Okay, so that we know, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
fine, yeah.
So now at least I have at least the scores themselves here, if not anything else.
Okay.
And even if this is not probably preferred way, but my way of approaching this was, since it is skewed, so I can probably look at it.
Right, yeah, okay.
What percentiles it breaks.
Right.
So this 95 is also approximate at 0.92. At 92nd percentile, probably it comes 3. But I still did it because it will still take that. So something of that sort. So this was just to estimate where to break for these scores. So
okay.
So that's
okay, fine. So this is also a workable solution. We can have a 5 bucket based on what now just Deepak demonstrated. That can also be done. But let me quickly move forward with F score also. The M score also. But I'm happy that all of you are coming with innovative solutions. Okay, let me look at the monetary score. RFM score. For the M score, let me do the same thing.
Sir, your screen is not visible.
Screen is not visible. 1 second, please. Okay. Yeah. Fine. So let me quickly come to the M score. We had the R score, F score. We will go with let's say Deepak's suggestion, or we will actually have a nested thing. We'll come to that in a bit. Okay. Let's just move on to the M score, monetary value. Again, for that, I'm copying this 10 buckets, Control C, and I'm saying Control V. And this is M score. I'm saying is equal to percentile array was monetary value, and we're picking up this value. All the way down. Okay, and now I'm saying VLOOKUP. Wait, again, there is an issue here. I need to put a 0 here, otherwise it becomes, again, it will give me problems. Okay, 0. So anything from 0, sorry, not here. So here it is the other way around, right? So this should be 9, because okay, 1, 2, 3. Zero to 9, that is what we were using. Dragging it down. I need to put a 0. Sorry, I need to put a 0 here. This is my VLOOKUP table. Okay, this is my VLOOKUP table. So essentially I'm saying if the purchase value is between 0 and 24.7, 24.27, I assign 0 points. If purchase value is between 24 and 39.38, I assign 1 point. And similarly, if it's between 4826 and 1325, I assign 9 points. Okay, that is how the VLOOKUP table is set up. And let us do that. Monetary value is equal to VLOOKUP. Lookup value is the amount of money. Monetary value, pick that up, comma, come to my VLOOKUP table here and lock it. F4, I want second column to be displayed, and I'm going for a range match, approximate match. Okay, 9 score. All right. Okay, so you have this. You have the R score, F score, and recency, frequency, monetary value. Okay. Now, how do I combine this? The RFM score. Okay, I'll fix this F score. Okay, RFM score. Simply this is equal to R score multiplied by 100, because assuming you are giving greatest weightage to that, plus F score multiplied by 10 plus by this square and multiplied by 1. Okay, and let me put brackets where required. Okay. So this is the classic way of doing the RFM score. That is, so that you notice that, so unfortunately our recency score is a little, messed up. Otherwise, if you see a score like 935 or 939, that is the most valuable customer. Okay. The other way of doing this is, instead of assigning highest, let's say, frequency to that, or highest weightage to recency, you can simply sum it up, which means a maximum out of a maximum possible value of 27. So which is simply this sum of all three. And drag it down, which means this is equal weightage. The closer it is to 27, the more valuable and important he is to us. Okay, so it's a relatively simple exercise that we need to fix that frequency score, because it's a massively skewed data. I think I'll go with Deepak's suggestion, which is instead of going with equal buckets, 0.33, 0.67, maybe 0.75, 0.85, 0.95, something of that, divided into 5 buckets, and maybe that classification would be more meaningful. Any confusions, any other issues with usage of,
sir,
yeah.
Why you multiply R score, multiply 110 and 1?
Yeah, that's what I said. No, that was actually explaining during the usage of the PPT also. Classical way of this RFM is, the recency is accorded the highest value, which means a person who visited me last week is more valuable to me than the person who visited me 18 months ago. Even if 18 months ago he spent 30,000 rupees and the most recent visitor only spent, let's say, 10,000 rupees. So that is the reason the most recent visitor is likely to visit me again in the future. That is the assumption. That is the reason why it is written as RFM. And to show that, like, greatest weightage for recency, we assign it 1,000. Let's say, just by seeing this number, eventually you will get a number like 538 or 937. So you know that 937 is more important than 538. Okay, and this is exactly what Puneet was asking. So now in our example, it's a very classic, it's a very good example of the RFM analysis going a little awry, because majority of them are visiting only once. So it doesn't make sense to say the most recent visitor, because everybody is visited only once. So that no, not the recency, sorry, the frequency. I'm so sorry. RFM recency, recency score was fine, right? Wait.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, recency score was fine. It's a yeah. Okay. So basically, what this is the whole. Like I said, no, it's called RFM. It's not called MRF. It could have been MRF. It could have been monetary, recency, and frequency. But they have used this. I mean, the RFM is used because marketeers generally agree that recency has got more weightage than the actual money is spent, and recency is more important than frequency. How many times he's come? So he should keep coming back to me. That is the idea. But like I was also saying, in some industries, this frequency may not be very relevant because you might be only making one purchase. In which case, you could of course go with equal weightages for all three and then simply do with a summation. And if you simply do a summation, of course, go with the ones which is giving you the value closest to 27. Or you could see the reason why you are giving 9 points and not 10 points is because once you use this as, like if you want to simply sum up, you can give 10 points and see which one goes closest to 30. However, if you want to keep it as 934, 835, just by looking at the number, you know how meaningful or how important the customer is to me by looking at the digits. Right. So if you just get 875, you know that, okay, he's in the second bucket and then he is in the third bucket and he's in the fifth bucket. So that idea you immediately get. So that is the reason it's called RFM analysis. Let me repeat again. Recency is given the greatest weightage because you think that the customer who has visited you most recently is very likely to make a visit, in the near future, as opposed to somebody who last visited me 10 months ago. And particularly true, this is particularly true for FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, and other industries wherein the repetition or repetitive visits or frequent visits of the customer are more important. I suppose that answers Manish. Manish should ask this question, right?
Yeah, thank you. Got it, sir.
Yeah. So like I said, some industry it may not be relevant, in which case instead of multiplying by 100, you simply sum it up. Take the individual scores of RFM, sum it up if you want to accord equal weightage. And once you do it, after that, okay, let me just, even if we have, ours is not a perfect, it's okay. Let me just use this and say RFM and let's say score 2, and to identify my most valuable customers, what I do is I sort it based, okay, let's say select everything, control shift down, and I'm going to data tab. I'm going to sort. I'm going to sort it based on RFM2, largest to smallest. Okay. Will take a while because there are really large data set. Okay. So you have the number 21. Okay. So these are your most valuable customers because they have an average got a value of 777. Or maybe 99 and 3 on F score. Yeah, okay, yes. Okay, so these are your most valuable customers. That is customer ID 110011. No, why you didn't pick this up? Oh God, I think when I sorted it, I omitted that value. I think I made a mistake. 1 second. Let me reverse it. Okay, yeah, I did not choose that value. Sorry about that. Let me choose this also. Control shift right, control shift down, sort by RFM score 2, largest to smallest, and I say okay. It'll take a minute or so. Okay, fine. So customer ID 111048 is the most valuable to me. So all these people have got score 21. So ideally it should look like 27 because we are second score. F score is on a 3-point scale instead of a 9-point scale. That is the reason it is only giving me 21. Even otherwise, if we look at this, this is again 939. So these are the highest values here. Even the RF score 1 or RF score 2, you have to, so you can use either case. This is actually giving me my best customers. All right, any concerns, queries on the whole idea of how this is? Yeah.
So just one thought. I mean, it's not a,
yes.
Somebody was visiting me already from an FMCG perspective. I mean, this should probably trigger some sort of promotion or something of that sort, right? Which I probably can offer. If somebody is visiting me frequently, should I be focusing on that customer segment and probably rolling out more offers, or try to convert the silent customers or probably who are not visiting so much and give that promotional offers to them? I was just thinking from that perspective that, and if I have a finite budget that I can probably let go as a marketing expense for that particular period.
Okay, so clearly, you know, when you look at this data set like this, so this is 1,800 or whatever number it is. So are we going to identify this silent guy? I mean, you know, one customer. So we're talking about generalizations here. No, we're looking at like say 10% of 1,800. We're looking at 180 people. So are we going to identify this one? I don't want to call it deviant, but peculiar behavior of one individual customer. Because the segmentation is based on the general behavior of a group of people.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, let's say for instance, if that person is extremely important, that is the reason they say, okay, we will talk about that in market basket analysis next class. Whether like, you know, somebody who buys a very expensive bottle of liquor and let's say caviar, whether he is more valuable to me because somebody who buys a very expensive liquor bottle with a very expensive food item, that frequency of that occurrence may be very low. Out of let's say 50,000 people who come to me, maybe 100 people would be buying that. So should I be so much bothered and should I be focused on them? Or should I be looking at the bulk of the people who buy less expensive items, but more in number and more frequently? So that again, it's an interesting question that you asked, but like that's what, you know, this is something which again in the market basket analysis, in the next class also we'll be talking about this, you know, when we talk about support, confidence, lift, and all of those concepts, right? So, but any other questions? I know that our that second bucket didn't work out quite well,
Sir,
but
can I
yes,
share my screen once again?
yes, please. Yes, Deepak, yeah, go
Sure.
ahead.
So, so since this is a skewed data,
Mhm.
for F score, frequency score, I looked at the actual data and saw that 1 to 7 visits are there, then 16 and 17. So I put this 16 and 17 into one bucket.
One bucket, okay.
And then 25 plus I put in another bucket. So this is the table. I'm not using percentiles because it's a skewed data and not symmetric or uniformly distributed. So this is the way I can assign the scores probably.
I tell you what, see, you can also see, we can use an exact, you have drilled down data to this extent, right? So we can use an exact match. Please come down to that, that filter button. Yeah. So there you can actually, we can use an exact match. Say for instance, if it's 4, then 1 point, I mean, like, so that sort of thing. 4,
So,
yeah.
So then it won't be a 10-point scale or 10 way. I mean, the unique values are greater than 10. So that's why.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, I would have assigned. I mean, otherwise, I would have done an exact match.
Exact match. Okay. Got it. Okay. Yeah.
This way. Anyways, 16 and 17 visits, no significant difference, and then 25 to 28, another again no significant difference in terms of frequency. So that's why I used it this way.
Okay. Yeah. This is much more neater, I think. Yeah. But normally we don't get this kind of skewed data.
Right. But this seems to be more like. So F scores are now ranging from 9 to 1. The exact,
right. Yes.
So I think this is more like a car or some high value item kind of data.
Exactly.
I'm not sure.
Exactly. Yes.
Looking at the sales amount, it doesn't look like that, but the frequency looks like that. So,
correct. But I hope this particular exercise also helped us appreciate that. I mean, you know, if it's FMCG data, it will never be this way. You will find that frequency scores would be very, very high. But this looks like some kind of rare purchase. And the maximum somebody has purchased is 17 times. That looks like an aberration, but otherwise mostly people have purchased from 1 to 3 times or whatever.
I think that as a framework, this is quite interesting. And how do we interpret that? How do we divide that? That's very specific.
Exactly. But I think those of you who are not familiar with the VLOOKUP is also comfortable with that and, you know, how to use this. Just the other ones are just a little bit of, okay. Yeah. Can you please stop sharing?
Sure.
Okay. But I hope the concept and how to do you want to stop sharing other screen? No. Okay. Yeah. So I hope the whole idea of RFM is okay. I mean, others have understood this concept, right? The class, just give me a thumbs up if you have. Okay, fine. All right. Yeah, and I think right now I'm just forgetting his name. Who just shared the screen right now? Gosh.
That's me, Deepak.
Yeah, Deepak. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So I think Deepak has also actually drilled down the data and told us exactly how you can divide into 9 buckets, and that is it's quite insightful. Also tells us, like, this analysis can vary from industry to industry. Like I said, if it's a classic FMCG, if your data input is from a classic FMCG shop or industry, you would find the RFM to be like, the data to sort of look a lot more in tune with what the analysis originally wants it to do. Okay. That said, I think we'll come to the end of today's session. Any other concerns, queries? Please let me know. Okay. Okay, then let's meet again the next week. All right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.